The statistics show that if you were born in the year 2000, 1 in 3 will develop diabetes.
I feel like my life's in 2-hour increments. Prior to that, you really don't have to worry about counting food carbs or figuring out how long has it been since I checked her blood sugar last.
Since Tyler has gone away to school and doesn't respond to any of my texting or my phone calls, I wonder a lot about how he's doing, what his blood sugars are.
And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I have to do this for the rest of my life, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, it was a huge life change.
Day to day, he tests his blood sugar 8 to 10 times a day.
She very quickly was able to give herself her own shots.
Shots 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 8 times a day.
It's one thing to be poking your fingers,
which was just so hard on a little body to have to poke her.
And it's not pretty. I mean, you just think to yourself, you're going to have to do this forever.
One of the real challenges is having to measure every single thing that she eats and figuring out how much insulin she needs for that food and making sure she eats all of it.
It's not just that, okay, if you dose for this because you had that many carbs, your numbers are going to be this. There's no science to it.
You can't control everything that happens to your child with diabetes.
Because your hormones, all these other things come into play.
I have not slept since he was diagnosed, which was 8 years ago.
Put her to bed, check her blood sugar before bed, and then I usually stay up till about midnight and check her blood sugar again.
Okay, we're going to go to bed. Everybody's going to have a great night's sleep. And then boom, it's midnight and you're all still up.
If it's not a good number, we have to make adjustments and check every 2 hours. So some nights there's very little sleep.
Fix him up with a Sprite and send him back off to bed, and then I test him an hour later.
What really concerns me is when she goes away to college.
Will she be able to live on her own in an apartment by herself?
Who's going to be there? To watch her and to check on her at night.
What would happen if you went low in the middle of the night and just didn't wake up and there was nobody there to know or to help you?
I was afraid he would die, that he would go to bed one night and not wake up, and I wouldn't be there.
Claire was 4 when she was diagnosed. I started to realize that something wasn't quite right with Claire when she repeatedly would ask me for things to drink nonstop. Can I have juice? Can I have water? I would hand her a cup. I would turn around and turn back around, and it was empty. She was drinking like she just ran around the block, so thirsty all the time. So it got to the point where I told her, I'm not going to give you anything else to drink anymore. This is ridiculous. Later, I was looking for Claire, and I found her in our bathroom with the door closed, and she had her hands underneath the faucet drinking water because she was so thirsty. And it just broke my heart. That was a bad day. I'm Trish Walls. My husband Ted and I have 4 children. Isabel is 10, Nolan is 8, Claire is 6, and I have a 3-year-old named Liam. Claire is my 3rd child, and she's a type 1 diabetic.
My daughter is 10, going to be 11, and she was diagnosed with type 1 2 years ago.
She was really starting to look gaunt and tired. Her skin was kind of pale and gray. She was real purple under her eyes. Her hands were getting very dry and scaly. She was real tired. She'd come home after school, just fall asleep in front of the TV. And I kept thinking, does she have mono? Like, there's just something not right. So I made the decision to take her to the minor medical. And sure enough, we got there and they took one look at her and asked for a urine sample, and she just wrote Olivia's blood sugar number on a piece of paper, didn't say a word to Olivia, and just put it in front of me and said, "You need to go to the hospital right now." And I remember Mike saying to the nurse, "Well, are you sure? Like, are you sure about that? That can't be right. Are you sure?" And then asking, "Well, will it ever go away?" And she said no. So that was kind of the beginning of how your life just completely changes. And the things that you used to think were a big deal are just so not a big deal anymore. My name is Kyle Rubino. My husband's name is Mike. We have 2 children, Ava, who is almost 4, and Olivia, who's almost 11. And Olivia has type 1 diabetes.
My child was 14. Tyler was diagnosed after a vacation at Lake of the Ozarks. He had been to Camp Foster in Okoboji, and he had seemed very thin, but he always lost weight at camp. And we were coming home from the lake and stopping at every single rest stop along the way. And so when we got home, my father was a type 1 diabetic, and I had an inkling that maybe he also was diabetic. And so a friend of mine came over and tested his blood sugar, and it was 697. And we immediately went to Children's Hospital, and she gave me the best advice I could have ever gotten, which was, don't let them admit him. You can handle this at home. And then it's not a disease. It's a lifestyle. I do remember opening up the refrigerator for the first time and seeing the bottles of insulin that I grew up with my whole life because my father being diabetic. And it was hard. I'm Cindy Irvine. My husband Jim and I have 4 wonderful children. Kelly is 28, Scott is 27, Robbie is 23, and Tyler is 21. Our youngest, Tyler, was diagnosed with diabetes at age 14.
Maybe I'll be president and work to keep our country free. But if you ask
My greatest wish for Olivia is that her illness does not hold back her life. That I want her to accomplish anything and everything she wants to do.
what she'd say to me. I wish for you a long life, happiness, a little strife.
My other wish is that her life, she has a full life. She has lots of friends. She meets a wonderful person. And is able to get married and have children.
And I promise that God will help you live the life you're meant to lead. I heard my mother praying in her bed the other night.
So my wish is for all those moms, dads to have a good night's sleep.
Make him all right. She wished for me a long life, happiness and little strife, healthy legs to take me where I want to go, strong eyes to see the whole world, strong heart to find the right girl, and I promise that God will help me live the life I'm meant to lead. That's a mother's prayer, a mother's hope, a mother's will.